Mate.
Collingwood, up the Bombers.
Oh. Hello and welcome to the Supercoach Hub BBL pod. We're actually shaking things up a little bit tonight. We're going live. Tonight we have from Off the Bench pod special guest Timmy-O. How are you, mate?
Very well, gentlemen. Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. We love people of your esteemed quality coming on. And we've also got Daz. How are you, mate? How's life going?
Good, thanks. Yeah, good. Thanks, Scopes, mate. How are you? Good to have you on board, Timmy. Nice to have another Queenslander back on the pod.
Absolutely, mate. I was starting to think we were going to grow gills and get web feet or something over the next few days, but no, it started to settle down up here. Unfortunately, we missed the cricket last night, but I'm hoping I'm going to the Heat game on Sunday, so I'm hoping it's fine by then.
Nice.
No, that sounds wonderful. Just before we kick things off, everybody that's either tuning in right now or is listening a little bit later or watching a little bit later, just make sure you catch tomorrow's gun show hosted by Supercoach Guns, who has two guests this week. Supercoach Brain from Inside Fantasy Sports, who is an absolute superstar of a human, definitely knows his fantasy sports, and he's just an all-round great bloke. And we also have Supercoach Locke, who's joining Supercoach Guns and Supercoach Brain. So I'm sure that show will be absolutely amazing. Maybe not as good as ours, because we know the PM crew is top-notch elite material, as all our viewers and listeners can vouch for us. But after that, let's get to this week's BBL review. I know that there's a game still currently being played. It's as these two Queenslander boys were just getting into me before, it's been rain affected, so it's been a little bit reduced, but I'm sure we can move past that. Timmy, how are you looking this week, mate?
Mate, I'm doing all right. It's funny, I was just saying to you boys off air that it's interesting. I've got 6 players in this game, 5 stars and Will Sutherland from the Renegades, and I was placed really well before going into kickoff or backflip or whatever you want to call it. I was sitting on 740 points with 6 to play in this round. Now, strangely enough, at the time, I was leading all of my head-to-heads in our leagues that we're in, and I'm in some pretty high-level leagues. I think our top league at the moment, our NRL Podmasters, we're sitting first overall. So there's certainly plenty of decent Supercoach players in that league. So look, I was sitting in. I had 740 points, and I was actually praying that this game didn't kick off, because there was a lot of people that were a lot of points behind me. Across the 7 leagues that I'm in, there was actually only 3 scores higher than what I was. So as strange as that sounds for having so many players in this game, I was really keen on this game not getting underway.
Well, I guess for everyone that's not you, it's probably a good thing that it has been rain reduced. Daz, what about yourself, mate? How are you looking? I've noticed that everything you seem to touch literally turns to gold. So I'm not too sure what's going on up there, but you seem to just make everything pop. How are you traveling this round, buddy?
Must be the Queensland thing, mate. It's the water we drink up here. So
absolutely.
But, yeah, not going too bad, mate. I'm not sure exactly what I'm on. I have 7 players in this game right now. Live update. Dan Lawrence just got his 2nd wicket. So whoever jumped on board him, well done.
My man.
That one hurts.
But that means Sutho's in with, what have they got? 15 balls left. So normal situation for Sutho in late. Yeah. So I've got him. I'm guessing what I am. I think I'm probably somewhere close to 900 now with those 7 in place. So I'm a little bit different to Timmy. I was praying to the weather gods and the SC gods and for this game to go ahead. It's probably more a sliding doors moment for my season. I was thinking if this got rained out with seven not playing, I was going to be in a world of hurt. So I'm very relieved that it's on. So yeah, it seems to be looking all right so far, but got a bit to go. Hopefully they go all right. What about yourself, mate? How are you looking? I noticed you kept Quentin de Kock, your favourite player in your team.
Yeah, that wasn't by my own, I guess, free will. Trade plans changed. There was quite a few things going on whilst I was trying to sort out who I wanted. I saw that Dan Lawrence was opening. Knew he had a pretty poor history over here, but that was back when the dinosaurs were around. So I thought I'd take a plunge on him because I wasn't really a fan of Wasim, but
Well done.
I guess, I mean, they've both turned out all right. I guess Wasim's a little bit he hasn't really lived up to his potential currently. Obviously, the game's still in hand. Quick fire 20, another wicket. He's probably laughing. But I think off the top of my head, I'm a tick under 1,000 at the moment. Last time I checked, I was looking, I was 7 out of 10 leagues. But there was only, I guess, a couple that I really had a chance in. It seemed the ones that I was losing quite comfortably. And I assume that a lot of people are, I guess, in that echelon. And there's a few that are really having a good week. I know a few people went with Lawrence as well. Obviously, every man and their dog VC'd Maxi. And a few people were actually ballsy enough to take the punt on Stoin. They used the trade to bring him in, and as he did last year, he just absolutely popped. So, yeah, getting there. Hopefully a few more Lawrence wickets, maybe a quick 550. That'd be wonderful. We won't talk about the Heat and Sixers because we know that was played in a state where just absolute, characters are from. Looking at you two lovely gentlemen, so we won't brush over that. But I think for the whole of Supercoach, it was nice that there wasn't, I guess, any deliveries bowled or any balls faced, purely because it would seem unfair to coaches that have those players, and then the break evens are massive. And I guess it's just a bit of to and fro, and that's how BBL Supercoach goes. Now, Hurricanes and Thunder. Who had Benny McDermott? Because I definitely didn't. Daz, did you have him? Of course you did.
Yeah, mate,
turns to gold. Of course. Yep.
I did mention it on the pod last week that I was eyeing off Benny.
Yep.
Yeah, I swapped out Bancroft and brought McDermott in and had him on the bench with the E and was just hoping that I don't know. We were talking a few things last week. We were talking about people due. I think I said Stoinis was due, and I was pretty confident McDermott was due. You can only keep quality players down for so long. Bit of luck, but an educated guess nonetheless. So yeah, I bought Benny in. So very happy with that. It allowed me to loop Maxi as well, and to get in those scorches that I wanted to get. So yeah, it worked out well. I was very happy with that.
No, just as I've mentioned maybe 2 or 3 times now, you seem to just be a step ahead of everyone. All the players that you identify just seem to do their thing, rack in huge points for you, and that's probably why you're ranked. I don't know what you're ranked, but I can only imagine that it's up there. Timmy-O, surely you had McDermott, because I feel like I'm the only coach that doesn't have him right now.
No, mate, no, it was a no from me. Just not really sure about his injury situation and things like that. He's someone who I'll definitely have in before the Hobart double. I've got him penciled in for not next round, but the round after. So yeah, or maybe as a 4th trade next week. But yeah, look, at this stage, we all know the potential that he's got and the player that he's been in the past. So if he can stay fit and stay on the field, he's certainly one that you want to have in your side going into that double, that's for sure.
Absolutely agree. I think it's safe to say we all had Sam's. I would assume we all had Hales because he did have a pretty good record down there. No, he didn't.
No, I didn't have Hales. I went Bancroft as a pod a couple of weeks ago, and he went pretty well for me the first game. But yeah, not so good in the second. But yeah, look, it's I had him and Billings this week in keeper, and had Sam Whiteman from the Scorchers as well, just so that I could flick between the 3 of them. I was really stuck. I wanted to trade out. Actually wanted to trade out Bancroft, but then it was looking like he was going to be the only one that actually did play this round. So I wanted to trade him out before he dropped cash and things like that, but ended up holding him. I think he got 21 points or something in that vicinity. So, but it's better than a duck egg from Whiteman and Billings.
Absolutely, it is, and I guess it's no fault on Billings' own that the rain happened in such a terrible state. If it was in sunny Victoria, it probably wouldn't have happened. We all know that.
Mate, it would have rained in Victoria 3 different times throughout the day and been sunny and rainbows, and everything else. Leaves falling from trees, it'd be snowing and all sorts of shit happens in Victoria.
It's been a rough day, I'll admit that. There's been a lot going on out there. A lot going on. I want to ask you boys just a very quick question. Mac Wright, do we have any interest leading up to the double? What's our thoughts? Daz, you seem to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of everyone. So surely you've got your eyes on him, or is he just going to bust and you've got no interest?
Yeah, mate. He's been playing well. He's a little fella, but yeah, he bats. He bats all right. Keeping an eye on him. I'm not sure. I'm also not sure how many canes I'm going to get until what is it? What's their double?
Round 7.
Round 7.
Round 7.
You got heat and scorches on the double as well there. So if I'm honest, he's probably down the pecking order a little bit for me. Went early on McDermott again for that double. Wanted to get some funds up for the scorches and felt he was due. I can see the appeal. He's going good. He is that bat. He's that bat only though. So
yeah,
I don't know. He's not, like I said, he's probably not high on my list compared to some of the others. I think I'd rather the Heat and the Scorchers boys at the moment. But he's playing very well.
Absolutely he is. I mean, a bloke that's, I guess, slotting in after Jewel and Wade. He's coming out and averaging 3 sixes a game, which I know it doesn't sound a lot, but considering he's only a couple off Fraser McGurk, who's the leading 6 hitter of the comp and played half as many games, it's definitely something to take note of. But I definitely concur. The planning with the Perth Scorchers seems like that's come under real magnification this round. I know a lot of people are trading in donuts, so to speak, in these Perth players, but some of them are extremely pricey, which I think off the top of my head, it's around 540K if you want Richo, Dorf and Hardy, which, I mean, obviously you don't get that without, I guess, cutting some corners here and there. Timmy-O, Mac Wright, any interest? No?
Yeah, look, the way I've got things at the moment, the trades that I'm planning for next week, in a perfect world, I'm going to use my second boost, bring in 4 Scorchers next week. I've already got Connolly and I've got Whiteman. I'm fully aware that Whiteman is probably not going to play any of the 4 games unless something happens to Inglis or they stick him out in the field or something like that. But, yeah, look, it's he was just a placeholder and someone to use as a loop option. I think I needed him a couple of rounds ago to bring somebody in to loop Billings or whatever it was that I was doing at the time. So, anyway, long story short, Mac Wright. So, if I've got 5 Perth players next week, I've already got 2 Heat. I've already got Chaudhry from the Canes. So all of a sudden I'm going to start running out of spots pretty quickly. So it's by the time round 7 comes along, yeah, look, I'm just not 100% sure. I'd probably be on more maybe Wade or probably one of the bowlers, whoever seems to be the form bowler at the time. I think it'll be Meredith or Ellis. I seem to have most seasons and they both seem to go all right. So it really is going to be a case of seeing how form is closer to the game, and hopefully they get a few more games in between now and then.
Yeah, completely agree. Out of curiosity, which Heat players do you have?
I've still got Tall Paul and I've got Sam Billings. I jumped off. I think I started with 4 Heat players. Jumped off after the round 2 or round 3 bye whenever they had it, and jumped off them. But yeah, basically I've kept Paul and I've kept Billings since. I've tried to get rid of Billings about 3 or 4 times and just can't make it work. So he'll end up being my keeper right through to the end, I'd imagine. So we'll wait and see.
No, sometimes it's, especially I can relate completely, mate. I've been wanting to trade Quinton de Kock for, I think, 3 rounds now, and it just hasn't worked out.
But even with guys like Nisa, like we're all climbing over Nisa to try and get him in 5 minutes before lockout for round 1 when he was announced that he was going to play and was going to be fit to play, I should say. Everyone tried to claw over themselves to get him in, and then he bowled 1 over that game. I think he bowled 2 overs the next game. He's basically bowling 2 overs a game, and he was the top bowler that we thought he was going to be for the series. I think on our first podcast for Off the Bench for the year, I predicted that he was going to be top point scorer for BBL Supercoach this year. So obviously that's gone way off the planet because the bloke's only bowled about 5 or 6 overs in total so far. Actually, it's probably
like
that's
a bit
about
of heat
all it
bias.
is. What's that? Sorry.
Nothing like a bit of heat bias.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, look, I really thought he's spending that much time around the Australian camp and everything else, the way that he finished off the season last year as well. And the bloke can hit a 6 too. He's a big boy that hits the ball a long way. I really thought he'd be top Supercoach scorer for this season, assuming he was going to bowl 4 overs every game. Unfortunately, they've had 2 games rained out, which obviously hasn't helped. But I'm going to assume that he's obviously holding the injury or the niggle or whatever it was, the soreness that kept him out of the PM's game. So maybe that's the issue, and he's just not 100%. The Heat have basically been told, look, he's obviously not next cab off the rank for the Australian Test team because Boland would be there, and you'd like to think that maybe Morris from the Scorchers is probably in and around the mix as well. But look, it's I've got no doubt that maybe someone higher in the food chain has told him to keep Nisa on ice, or at least the way the Heat have been going, make sure he can bowl 4 overs if they make the finals.
So just to continue on from that, I think it's a fantastic discussion because you're right. I mean, as soon as we knew that that Nisa was going to play that first game, especially with that triple in mind, everybody was on him. Everyone. And
I had the VC on him. That's how intense I was so keen on him. I brought him in and put the VC on him about 10 seconds before lockout of game 1.
I think now it just seems to me, and I guess this, call it a conspiracy theory or however you want to look at it, but he withdrew from soreness. He hasn't bowled his full allotment of overs. I just think he's still injured. Honestly, like this bloke was making runs in Australia. He was making runs in England. He was taking wickets in England. He was taking wickets in Australia. The form up until BBL, I know he had to leave his Shield game for family reasons, and that's obviously completely understandable. But it just seemed as if there's something still going on there, whether it's whatever injury, if it's reoccurring or it's new. And I think relating what to you said, there was a snippet, I can't remember from who, but Ashton Agar was apparently all good to play the first 2 rounds for the Scorchers. He was ready to go, but he was instructed under Cricket Australia. Obviously, Cricket Australia instructed the Scorchers, that he needed to have a little bit of a rest. Now, it would not surprise me at all if, as you said, Cricket Australia have literally just tapped the Heat on the shoulder and said, look, you're in a good position. Let's just tone it down a little bit because from what I can see, Nisa always bowls at the death. Well, he has been. But now I think the common denominator is it's Bartlett and Spencer Johnson, which obviously Heat have got a double coming up. I know we're going to need to have planned effectively and have a lot of money in the bank to bring these players in because Bartlett, I don't know his price, but I think it'd have to be high. Yeah, it'd be low 200s, maybe even high. Yeah, well, lovely, thank you. That's a lot of money. Like, do you take it? Obviously, we're all planning for this this game week where there's 3 clubs that have the double. Do you just take a Jai Richo at 30k less than a Bartlett right now? Like, what would you do, Daz? Because as I keep mentioning, mate, everything you do turns to gold. So if you want to flick me your trades, let me know. Okay, like. And if it involves getting Quinton de Kock out, that'd be fantastic.
my last trade tonight before it shut was I bought in Jai Richardson. So I've crunched the numbers. I know they're at Adelaide Oval and I know they're at Optus, but he was my number 1 Scorcher by a long way with what I looked at. Maybe I shouldn't say that if you're pumping up my tyres, but he was the one for me.
Especially at a discounted rate. Especially at a discounted rate. He's sitting at 170. Like, you don't get Jai Richardson any
absolute bargain. Yeah, absolute bargain. So, no, he was the one there. But Bartlett's definitely on the radar. just to throw into the Nice one, I know it's sort of been discussed a lot, not just by us, but on other ones for a bit. But I also think the circumstances that the Heat haven't needed him as much this year. Undefeated, everybody's going well. Walters, tall Paul's come in. The spin bowlers are bowling together. Bartlett's done well. Johnson's didn't look real good in the first game, but it's gotten better each game. I just don't think they've needed him as much. They've been in control of the matches and look good. They haven't used him. He only bowled one last game, which was even less than the two overs he'd been bowling on each game previously. But Bartlett's looking really good. He's got the death overs. He's definitely on the radar in that one. Just having a look, who the Heat got? They got the Canes and the Scorchers in that double, both at home, so both at Gabba. So beautiful Queensland weather. Hopefully, sun will be out and we'll get some games. But I
think those games are going to be the ones that start playing down the Gold Coast, because obviously the Gabba's out for the Test match. So I'm not quite sure on the date of those, but I know the Heat have to play their last 2, 3, whatever it is, games.
There we go.
Plus finals will be down the Gold Coast, I believe.
And what's that stadium? What is it, Rabina or something?
I'm assuming they'll play the same ground that the Gold Coast Suns play at.
And what's that ground normally like, Timmy? Do you know? Is it a small ground or is it a?
Well, no, I'm not sure. As far as first grade cricket games been played down there, I'm not really sure.
That's a good point. If it's there, then probably that's something to look into. If it's a small ground like a Lavington type ground or something like that, then
absolutely
maybe Bartlett's not the go. But depending on what it is and so on, he definitely looks the pick of them. I've had tall Paul from the beginning, so to be honest, Bartlett's probably the only other one I'm looking at from the Heat. Oh, sorry, Mick Sweeney possibly as well.
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that is a perfect transition. Who are we looking at for that? I know obviously there's a few more rounds before, or there's one more before this big double, but we've been planning for this for ages, and obviously funds dictate who you grab. I mean, some people were very skeptical on Webster this week if they didn't have him already, just purely based off of that huge break even. And the people that really run the numbers, they're a little bit, I won't say scared, but they're a little bit uncertain to select him, because if he does pull out a stinker, that could be the difference between you buying, for instance, an Ashton Agar or an Andrew Tye. And I know there's only maybe 38k difference between them, but a bloke that has bowled at every single opportunity at the death for arguably the best team in the comp, or a bloke that waddles in and bowls little left arm tweakers and may bat at 7. I mean, no disrespect to him, but I think I know who I would want to pick. So, Timmy, who are we thinking? And I'm not going to talk about Brisbane because it's going to make me sick. Who Hurricanes are you thinking about? I know we spoke about Mac Wright before, but as we know, death bowling is absolutely gold in this format. So who are you thinking, mate?
Look, at the moment, I've got Chaudhry, and I've been really pleasantly surprised. He was the nuff that I started with at the start of the season, and the guy's been averaging really well. So a pleasant surprise, and nice and easy, a nice cheap player that you can flip between bat and bowl, and seems to help out a lot, especially with these rain-issued games, that just being able to flick him as a duel and not think too much about it. And every game, I think I've started him on the bench, and every game I've ended up playing him, looping him in. So it's it's been really handy. Look, the other one that I've been spruiking on our podcast, I know he hasn't been playing that well, didn't play so well this week, but look, Tim David, I'm really keen on, especially if he's bowling. So just that dual role, I think, in that team, I'm actually really keen on. Matty Wade, again, if he's in form, he's one of the best T20 batters around as far as I'm concerned, especially if he's holding the gloves, because he seems to take the gloves over Dermy. So Dermy's really only there as a bat only in that team, or a backup. But, yeah, look, it's there's not a lot. If I'm going with a bowler, it'll be a coin toss between Ellis and Meredith, and that'll be a cash. thing at the time. Probably BE going into the last couple of rounds might be handy if you can generate some extra cash there for trades to move around. But after this, going into round 6, we'll I'll use my last boost next round to bring in four Perth players, like I was saying before. So, look, I'm probably not going to have a lot of room for Canes. I'll probably have 2 Heat, 2 Canes, or 3 and 3. We'll see how things go.
Yep.
But at this stage, as it is right now, with trades the way that I'm planning at the moment, going into next round, I'll have 5 Perth players, 2 Heat players, and a Cane going into next week. So then add another 3. So I think the most I can have is 12 double gamers going into round 7 at the moment.
Yep. No, obviously it's when you say 12 double gamers, it's fantastic to have. I've always been
that's if everything goes to plan and they all get named and injury free and everything else. So
I was
anything
just
can
about
happen.
to say it's quality over quantity for me.
Absolutely. Look at someone like Steckity. Like, it's been all well and good to bring Steckity in. But
shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Yeah. And he was my last trade when they had their first double, and I was sort of umming and ahhing about it and just went, look, he's cheap. What's the worst that can happen? Well, the worst that can happen is he scores 15 points across 5 games or whatever it is. So it's, not looking real flash at the moment.
I think he's just...
he's on 26. He's on 26 points for this game.
He bowled the death over and got a wicket caught by Maxi, so that wasn't too bad.
He'll take 4 months off now, I reckon. His work is done. Daz, who are you thinking, mate? Any Hurricanes you're looking to add? I assume you've already got Chowdhury. You've got McDermott. Are you going any more? Because,
Are we talking this round, or are we talking in future rounds? McDermott's the first...
for that double game week of round 7.
McDermott's the first Hurricane I've had all year. Bought him in this round. So don't have Chowdhury. Didn't want to start with an NPR on the bench. He's turned into something really good. So I know. Good luck to yous. Possibly him. If he, I'll keep an eye on him if he bowls 4 overs again. I'm quite happy to. Pay up for him the week after if I have to. But this next round, I'm using same as Timmy. I'm using my last boost and going to be 4 scorches. So I'm going all out scorches. That'll give me 6 scorches and 2 strikers. I got Matty short and I've had Overton from the beginning. I've actually had both of them from the beginning. So that's where I'm going there. Hurricanes, happy with McDermott. Chowdhury's possibly the one to bring in. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on him. If he bowls 4 overs again, then I'll probably bring him in for the double. I'm guessing he's probably going to be about 100K by then, I guess, with his price rise. So still really cheap, good bring in. As we discussed last time, I've been impressed by Meredith as a bowler. It hasn't translated to SC points though, which is surprising. But he's one I'll keep an eye on. I heard a few whispers that the champ Andrew bought in Alice, I think, this week. Funny enough, he actually bought in Ashton Agar as well, I heard. So I don't know whether that was that was a trick and he traded him out before it closed or not. But that was what I heard. I hadn't had a look, but some interesting moves there. But couple of Canes, I guess, but I'm not. They're not on my radar for next round. Bought Macca in this round. For that, it'll be a full on Scorcher attack for me next round, and then I'll worry about whether I get any more, whether I get a Heat and get a Cane. Then I guess keeping an eye on too with some of the games coming up, some of the Australian games coming up, and whether that affects any of the Scorchers being out. It looks like round 7 could be a little bit of a danger for a couple of them. So that'll be something I need to keep an eye on as well. What about yourself?
Currently, I only have Chowdhury from the Hurricanes. I did have McDermott, traded him out, but I think it's almost like a get out of jail free card, isn't it? If you don't own him, I don't know his price. As I said, I don't own him. Definitely really, I had my eye on him, but I wasn't really, I guess, he wasn't at the forefront of my thinking for trade plans. But for someone of his quality and caliber, for a price which I assume has to be lower than his starting price, doesn't it? I think.
So he's currently sitting on 81,300. He had a break even of 51 and got an 83 last night. So he'll obviously go up in price a little, but he's still going to be sub 100 going into this round.
He'll be very close to his starting price.
Yeah. And I think we all thought he was the biggest lock at the start of the year. Yeah. And I guess if you're bringing in a Ben McDermott for less than what he was starting at, and I think he started at like 55% ownership, I think that's just an easy trade, isn't it? So I'll be boosting like literally everybody else will be. And that's just one trade done. So I know that McDermott's coming in, and I'll be looking at obviously Scorchers, but I'm thinking from the Hurricanes, I want death bowlers. I don't like on the commentary. I don't know how prevalent it is or how serious it is, but the Hurricanes coach said that Matty Wade was dealing with back spasms. Now I don't know if that's just a little tremor here and there, or if the bloke's going to be confined to bed. Probably not. But if I'm choosing a batsman only, and obviously, as you said, he has been keeping, but if I'm choosing a batsman only that's a keeper, not an all-rounder, I want them to be as fit as they can possibly be. Now, I don't think I'll be going Wade. McDermott's coming in, maybe one of either Ellis or Jordan. And I don't think the DPP of Jordan would edge it, maybe in certain scenarios, but it's purely based on the fact that literally they will bowl one over, maybe up front, maybe two, and then half of their deliveries is just at the back end, and that is just pure junk. Like it's just wonderful. It's the same situation with Andrew Tye. I think we all know that if Scorchers bowl first, he is going to be bowling at the death points. We saw Ralph literally, I think it was maybe 2 rounds ago, went from having 3 Supercoach points and then getting absolute junk in the last over, and he shot up to like 80 something. We saw it with Sam's when he picked up 5.
AJ Tye did it 3 rounds ago. I brought him as the pod before. Basically, I think at the time he was about 6 or 8% ownership or something like that. He was my first trade in for the week, and it was interesting because we had this chat on off the bench, and the boys were all saying, "Why are you bringing AJ in so early?" And I went, "Just got a hunch." And he took 3 wickets in his last 4 balls or something or other. So he went from, it was about 25 points to 100, just like that. So
straight away.
Yeah. He's look, he's my number 1 pick for next week. He'll be my first trade. And sitting at 151K. It's an absolute no-brainer. I've got him currently ahead of Jai Richardson, but by a well-hung bee, and that's about it. So look, I'll be bringing in AJ next week, and then Jai as a second behind him, and just make things work.
No, I think you absolutely have to. Now I know you gentlemen are both from that interesting state up north from me. So we will give the Brisbane Heat a little bit of airtime. And I know we did speak about him earlier, but I can only assume that no one's going Nisa. Surely not. Daz, you won't be bringing him in, will you? The role's just not there.
I haven't ruled it out, to be honest.
Okay. Yep. No, fair enough.
I just want to see his price. I'm not exactly sure. Anyone, it's around 150 or something?
I'll tell you.
So I can sort that out. Yep.
Yeah. So it depends. Like if he's going to get more overs, they've had a bit of a break. Yeah, sure, but maybe it depends with the funds, I guess, and with Bartlett's the number one look on it. Just quickly back to the Canes break. Yeah, just quickly back to the Canes though. I'm not sure if he's watched last night, but Wade didn't look good. That back was troubling him. It would not surprise me if he was out. That means McDermott takes the gloves, which is better. I've also got a little bit of a theory with Wade as well. He's probably the angriest cricketer in the BBL, I reckon. you don't fire him up though. The only time he's been fired up this tournament, him and the Chief had words in the game. And Wade's come out and just smashed 80 something, I think it was. Other than that, he's done nothing. So I don't know. I got this theory that I want to look at it. Don't upset Wadey. If you see Wadey get upset, bring him in. He's an angry ant, man. Man, he goes off that ladder, and he was so determined when he was angry. So, but yeah, with his back, you really couldn't. I would not be surprised at all if he rests next game and McDermott takes the gloves and moves up the order too.
Yeah, and I think that just adds even more appeal to McDermott. I mean, if you don't own him, as I said before, it's an easy buy. If you do own him, you're laughing. You can just move on to your next target, which makes everything a lot easier.
Here's a bit of a tip. I reckon if they're going to rest him, it'll be for next Sunday's game, and he might stay in Hobart. I reckon Sam Haslett, who's been carrying the drinks for the last couple of games, wouldn't surprise me if he comes in for Wadey. McDermott will pick up the gloves, and Sammy has. You
got the inside word, Timmy, haven't you?
He's friend of the show, friend of Off the Bench. We had we did have the pleasure of interviewing Sam Haslett for Off the Bench podcast a couple of weeks ago. The bloke was just amazing. He had so much time for us. He had a chat with my young bloke. He's my little boy. He's an 8-year-old turning 9, plays under 12s cricket up here in Brisbane, and he was great. He gave Bailey 5 minutes and had a chat with him. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. He's been carrying the drinks there in case of Wadey being no good. So if Wadey's ever going to get a rest, Sammy's a Brisbane boy. He actually lives at Manly, about 20 minutes away from me here. So yeah, look, it wouldn't surprise me if Sam gets his first game here at the Gabba next Sunday afternoon.
Now, he might be a good bloke, and I respect everything he's done, which sounds absolutely wonderful. And this is coming from someone that hasn't played that high level of cricket like he has, obviously being a former Australian player. But I think you could just put 100 names in a hat and raffle someone out over Sammy right now, to be honest. Although that's a little bit harsh, but surely Hayne would just come in, wouldn't he? Surely.
Yeah, I guess it's going to depend on what they need. I mean, how many games have they played so far? I don't know what it is exactly, but coming this late into the tournament, it's a short tournament. There's a few short turnarounds obviously coming up for them as well. So I don't know if they're ever going to rest players. Probably now before finals is maybe when they want to start looking at it. But yeah, look, I don't know. It really is a case of toss a coin. But I reckon if they're going to give Wadey a rest, it wouldn't surprise me if Sammy comes in.
No, wonderful. Who are we thinking though from Brisbane, Timmy-O? What's going on?
Going back to the question before, look, Michael Nisa is currently 163,500. He had a break even at 96. Obviously, they didn't take the pitch yesterday, so that's not going to change. But 163K. The fact that he's dual was why I really liked him. And he's another player that you can flick around like Maxi, Webby, those sorts of guys that have got a really high ceiling, and you can flick them between the two spots and not really lose any. The disappointing part, like we've already discussed, is the fact that he's not bowling his 4 overs at the moment. Whether or not that's the case, if they've just been resting that niggle and if it comes to the crunch in a game that they really need to win, then maybe he gets those extra overs that he's been missing out on. But yeah, look, apart from Nisa, Brownie as a very left field if you're looking for hero or zero at the start of an innings.
Hero or zero is a great way to describe it. Yes, absolutely.
He's a big unit that hits a big ball a very long way. But look, it depends on the day with Brownie and whether or not he's in the mood. So yeah, look, it's I don't know. They've Colin Munro. Obviously, you can't go past.
Absolutely.
And I think he's probably dropped cash since the start of the series. He had the big game in round 1, and then's gone pretty quiet ever since. So, look, he's probably due for another big game, and I think he could do worse than Colin Munro. The hard part is the safest option this season now more than ever seems to have been having the guys with the dual position. And like my team at the moment is just about filled with bat bowl doubles. So It's
Absolutely.
it's hard to go past that. It obviously gives them 2 opportunities, especially in these rain-affected games. The last thing you want's a bowler that bats at 8 or something and might bowl 3. So, it's a bit tough. But if you've got guys that are batting middle order and definitely going to bowl 4 overs, look at guys like Daniel Sams. Obviously didn't have the greatest start to the series, but he come out trumps the last, not yesterday, but the game before. So, yeah, look, I think it's the safest way to play it at the moment.
Completely agree. I think personally myself, if obviously funds enable it, I think I'd be looking at probably Bartlett number 1, Tall Paul number 2, and Spencer Johnson number 3, purely just on roll. And as we know, they bowl at the death. You can bowl absolute, literally up and down fairy bread for 3 overs, and if you get that last over, 9 times out of 10 you're in the money. And that's, as a batsman, all you need is 1 good rock and you're getting sent off. So definitely, I guess, weighing onto the side of the all-rounders and bowlers. It's just, cash. It comes back down to that. Is Bartlett 200k worth it, or is, say, a Munro plus 50k or a McSweeney plus 75, 80? I guess it's up to their own coach. Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I've got the Heat team right in front of me while I was looking for Nisa. So I'll go through some numbers really quickly. So you're looking at Josh Brown's still at 90k. Spencer Johnson's 102. McSweeney's 129. Kuhneman's gone up with about 40k. He's at 143. Swepson's gone up nearly 80k at 151. Nisa's dropped 30k. Tall Paul's gone up 65, but Munro's at 184. Bartlett is 195. So, look, a lot of those players are right up there now. As far as the dual position guys go, I've probably got Tall Paul Walter in front of Xavier Bartlett. I think only because he comes into that batting order pretty early, and I think he's a decent dual threat there.
No, absolutely. I think he's really been good this edition of BBL. I know Poms that come over in their first edition don't really tend to do well, but sneaky little pod in Dan Lawrence, as Kane Anderson has just sent in. How good is Dan Lawrence as a pod? Well, he's just gone out, so that's annoying.
Line update, he just got caught.
But he's gone out and he's taken 2 poles. Oh, I think it's under 10. Oh, well, there you 7. Go. So what's that? 2 wickets and 7, 47 in the game. You take that.
He bowled 3, I think, so he got his economy as well. But yeah, it's still
wonderful.
Still did all right.
Wonderful.
Pretty good prices there, Timmy, on some of those Heat. I'll be honest, I started with a Heat, got rid of all of them bar Tall Paul. Haven't really looked at them again, to be fair, since then. Been concentrating on others, but yeah, really surprised by the prices. Might be something I need to relook at. Spencer Johnson at 100.
Yeah,
Spencer Johnson 109. 102. Great value. McSweeney 120 something is great value. I'd be going Kuhneman over Swepson anyway.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well done, Swepo. Fantastic. Whoever started with him, better than me. I watched last year and I was not going to touch him. I'll put my hand up. Didn't go near him. So they've done well, but I'd be going Kuhneman over him for sure. There's some really good value there.
I was all over Cooners all through the preseason and off the bench and kept spruiking it all the time. Look, Swepson has taken more wickets in the first 3 games this season as what he did all of last season.
All of last year. Oh, I did. Yeah, I was trying to jump in and cut you off because I was huge on that. On that. I'm fairly sure he took more wickets in one round, which was obviously the opening round, than he did all of last year.
Took 5 wickets. Took 5 wickets in the opening round.
Yep. So, and those that went on him, I had my doubts, as a few people keep reminding me on the wonderful platform X. Those people know who they are. I'm sure I'll get a little laugh out of it. But I just thought with the Test boys playing that first game, surely Marn would just bowl some overs. But clearly Swepson is just reincarnated. Personally, I think it's the headband because, I mean,
I'm going to say,
he's gone from...
If we knew he was going to wear the headband, we might have rethought it because I'm with you. 100%
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'd make comment, but I'm probably just jealous. So,
yeah. I mean, the patch is a bit thin, shall we say, mate.
That's it.
Moving on, that's a fantastic discussion, and I have no doubt that we're going to be talking about all these big boy Scorcher trade-ins that we're looking to afford.
I'll be talking next week all about it.
Absolutely. And also, as Timmy, as you said, and as Daz alluded to, the prices of these Heat players, I mean, I don't think people actually realise how cheap some of them are, which really facilitate the needs for these Scorchers boys. Because, as I said before, I think Berndorf, Hardy and Jai Richardson is a tick under 540k. Now, obviously, you're not pulling that out of your backside and you want to trade out these Stars players and these Thunder players. I think Sam's, Maxi you want to keep, Webster, they're the only ones with really high value. So you're going to have to, I guess, rob the rich to give to the poor in some areas of your team. But moving on, we introduced this segment last week. Now, I really liked it because it's called, well, there's 4 categories, Timmy. And obviously, Daz, you'd know this, but we have the dead shit category. Players that we own that hurt us the most. We also have the moral victory. Looked good, scored poorly. And sorry to interrupt, but in the comments, Corey Blackledge has just said Jono Wells is bowling. Now, I find that, I don't know if he is, but Jesus Christ, if he is.
He is.
That's disgusting. That's foul. They clearly, we'll talk about it soon. Gun of the week, player that we own that helped us the most and didn't offer a shot. Player we don't own that bowled us over this week. So, Daz, do you want to start us off with dead shit of the week? Player we own that hurt us the most, mate. Who is it?
I had 2, Steckity and Hale.
Like it. Oh, yeah,
Halesy, we talked up. I think we might have talked him up off air about his great record and so on. So held him. Thankfully, I had him as emergency, so he didn't hurt me too much. So he didn't quite make it, but big Steckity is the one for me. I was quite high on him. Thought he was going to go really well, and just playing that one game, getting dropped in a double. They're not playing, and now I think he's got combo about 30 points for this double. Poor old Steck. He's not what he was like at the Brisbane Heat, that's for sure. But he's sorry, big man, but you're my dead shit of the week.
Yeah, no, you've taken the words right out of my mouth. Steckity, easily the biggest dead shit for me. And Hales, I think it's a little bit rough, but I mean, he only played one game, to be fair, so Steckity edges him. And just to get back to Corey, he's just put in that Jono Wells hasn't bowled since BBL 3, so 10 years. Now, I don't know what's going on at the Gates, but if you're bowling Jono Wells...
Especially in limited overs. They've only got 14 overs.
Unless Jono Wells has really worked on his bowling game in 10 years, which I'm sure he could have, I don't really see the direction that they're going in.
He's gone for 11 off his first 5 balls, so yeah, I think this will be his only over, surely.
For another 10 years, we reckon. Might see him in BBL 23.
They really only came into this game with 5 bowlers. So whether
it's
or not...
It's interesting setup, wasn't it?
It's only 14 overs.
That's what I mean. Yes. In 14 overs, why would you not throw the game plan out the window? Like they probably came in and went, Jono, you reckon you can bowl an over or 2 this week? And he probably went, yeah, righto. But not for 14 overs. Like when you've only, I don't know. I don't understand the logic, but sure. 10 points to him.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
Bring Sutherland back on. I'm sure Sutherland needs a few more overs.
Give Sutherland a rest. He's fine. He can just have his 10 points to the game.
He hasn't bowled yet. Come on,
dude. That's wonderful. We'll go to moral victory. So looked good, scored poorly. We'll go with you, Timmy-O. Who's your moral victory of the week, mate? We like to refer to this one as the English category because we all know that they're moral victory whingers. But yeah, Who looked good and scored poorly, mate?
Yeah, I don't know. Look, maybe Stoinis, depending on how he goes for the end of this game. Look, he started well. Stoinis was in my sort of shit the bed never again category. I've had him so many times over the last 3 or 4 seasons and just gone, you fucking moron, why are you doing it? Sorry, Absolutely. Boys, I don't know. I'm assuming you guys don't have a G rating for this show from this amount of language
we
already.
Don't now.
There's my first F-bomb. But yeah,
we
look,
all get a player that we can abuse, and you're allowed to drop whatever you
want. Oh, mate, it's
we won't tell Kano about that, okay?
I'm 4 foot tall and 68 kilos on a fat day, so I'm the last person that's going to stand up to Stoinis and tell him he needs to pull his head in. But look, I brought him in for this round. Again, it was just one of those plays where they were looking a bit light on with bowlers, especially pace bowlers, after sending 2 back overseas. So, look, I brought him in thinking surely he's got to bowl plenty of overs. He was captain for the game the other night, and just figured he's got to be up there somewhere. So, look, he got plenty of points in the first game, and just doesn't look like he's up there for this one. So I'm not sure. Obviously, we've been on air since the game started, so I'm not sure whether he got many overs in. But yeah, hopefully he comes out and hits it long. But I think most people have brought Stoinis in this round simply because he was only about 80K or 90K or something like that. So look, it's jury's still out. He promises everything and generally produces not a lot. So yeah, I hope that ticks your box.
I mean, I don't own him, but I think that's it's harsh because if he clocks 100, that's 50 points per game. I mean, geez, Timmy, you're a harsh critic. I mean, I don't own him, so I hope he makes it dark.
I don't think he's made 100 points in this series all up in total so far, has he? Like,
I don't know.
After this round, he might have just doubled his score.
He scored 93 last match.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So he's probably just doubled his score. So, yeah.
Anyway.
Daz, who's your moral victory, mate?
Mate, I've got a guy. He's I'm fitting in the category. He's an Englishman. He's a Pom. Mate, he looked fantastic striding out to the pitch. I thought he looked really good. Looked like he was ready in form, and then he got a diamond duck. Oh, it was good old Tommy Kohler Cadmore, poor bugger. Yes. A diamond duck that got run out without facing a ball. So yeah, he's my English Pom moral victory of the week.
No, I like that correlation. I think he's played 2 games and he's faced two balls in 2 innings. So he's not he's definitely not spending his time at his crease. My moral victory looked good. I guess this is harsh again. I don't want to say Hales because he didn't look good, but Tanveer Sangha, I thought he looked really nice. He really put the brakes on. He got weighed out, really tied down Jewel. But, I mean, for 1 for 22 off 4 and you only score, I think it was 48, that seems, a little bit under. So, unfortunately, it's going to Sangha. If Hales looked better, it would have went to him, but it definitely doesn't. Our next category, Gun of the Week. Player we own that helped us the most. Now, I'm going to put a rule in there. We're not picking Glenn Maxwell because we can't have that. Like, that's just a given. I think if you don't have him, then, you can't. I mean, you can't be taking it seriously, can you? Everybody would have looped him. Some even had the balls to straight seam, but we're not going there. So, Daz, we'll go back to you, mate. Who's the player that you own that helped you the most this round?
Well, I had 2 actually, and
yep.
First one was McDermott. We've spoken a bit about him, so he's done well. But the second one was funnily enough, Timmy's dead shit of the week is Big Stoin. He was my gun of the week. He's come out and absolutely muscled 50-something. Hasn't been in form. Got the Stars home with over an hour, with over 1 over to spare, chasing down their highest run chase ever. Just absolutely hulked it. Player of the match.
Did it with ease.
Stein, you're my gun of the week, mate. We talked him up, or I talked him up last week on the last show as well.
You did. You did.
Joked that I straight captain him.
Yes.
But yeah, no, not just because Timmy said that, but Big Stoin's my gun of the week.
No, I like that, and I think everyone that either traded him in or had him prior to trades would be extremely happy with what he's produced. Timmy, who's your gun of the week, mate?
Look, Maxi aside, boys, I've probably got to go Webster. He's my other big scorer for the round. He's currently sitting on 143 points for the round, so we've got to be pretty happy with that. In a double game. Look, I know some of the off the bench boys actually. I think it was Brad that actually captained or vice captained Webby and had to loop him in. And whereas I think Guy went Lawrence. But look, I haven't got Lawrence. It's one that I really wish I did have because the guys look really good this round. Obviously got out cheaply just before, but look, outside of that, yeah, look, Webster's certainly been my other saving light. But I think that people who captained him as a pod play to Maxi, you can't be too upset. Mind you, the game's still in play.
Oh, absolutely. My gun of the week goes to someone from another country. They may or may not shower too often because they are called soap dodgers. He's in the top 1%. He's in 12.8% of teams. It was just announced this week. And from my understanding, has an extremely interesting bowling action because he doesn't bowl that much.
I thought you were going to say Quentin, the cock.
Oh, no. We know that character, I will use the word lightly, is one of my personal favourites. But my gun of the week goes to Dan Lawrence. Now, I haven't seen his the first game batting highlights, but apparently it was a bit dubious, his run out. I know he was on 49, got the quick single and then come back for 2, ended up with 50, got the bonus. That's fantastic. Got there quite quickly as well, which was wonderful. I think he ended up with 87 for the first game, which was wonderful. Would have been nice if he had stayed in a little bit longer. But tonight, in a rain-affected game, he's done nothing with the bat, and he's picked up 2 poles bowling these, I'll use the term, fairy bread deliveries very lightly. So that was nice. And there was a lot of people that I spoke to or conversed with that was going Imad Wasim. And why wouldn't you? I mean, if you're batting at 7 for the Stars, you're basically batting first drop anyway, aren't you? So you're going to get 4 overs. They'd just lost Summer Mia, so he was obviously going to roll the arm over. Weren't too sure about Maxi's bowling capability, so you'd almost say he was the number 1 spinner there. And a lot of people went to him, and I think he's really repaid them tonight. It's almost saved them, but going Lawrence over Wasim was a bit ballsy, and the only reason that I did it was because it was at Adelaide Oval. It's just a run fest there. So I thought, even though Poms generally do go fairly disgusting in their first edition here, if he could just face 5 balls, I thought surely we're onto something, which was interesting there. And it looks like it's paid off a little bit. Yeah, handsomely. I mean, you throw enough darts, you're going to hit one, aren't you? Our last category didn't offer a shot. Player we don't own that bowled us over this week. So one player that we don't have that has killed us. Timmy-O, you're up, mate. Who have we got? Who's killed us this week?
I was, I'll be honest, I sold Jake Fraser McGurk this round when I played him last round. And he was actually my saviour last round with his big hitting. He was the guy that I was just freaking out. Like even today, wasn't sure whether or not to if this game didn't get played, I was actually going to try and use my boost, but not use my boost to actually trade Sutherland out and bring him back in. So essentially still keeping just the 3 trades, but actually ditching Sutherland for next week and having the extra cash there and then not losing the So look, it's he was the one that I was scared the most by not owning going into this round. I think the guy's been in form and seeing them like beach balls at the moment. And yeah, look, he's at the moment he's sitting on only 14 points, which I'm absolutely ecstatic about because I know a lot of people that I'm playing head-to-heads in have got him. So
it's wonderful. Wonderful.
Mind you, Sutherland's only in 4, so yeah.
Now that's music to my ears because I've been been very against his role, even though a lot of people think that it's fantastic.
He's got to move up the order. Like he's the batter that he is. I can't understand why he's batting so low. And even in the game that they had to win earlier this week, late last week, whenever the hell it was, and you just thought surely they're going to push him up. Surely they're going to push him up. And they moved that one spot or something. It was just. Yeah, you just in the end. I don't think I know he's still batted at 7 or whatever that he was at. So it's I don't get that one. I really don't. For the potential that the guy's got, the big hitting that he's got, I can't understand why he's batting so far down the order.
And I was just to add on to that because I completely concur with everything that you've said. But when you're the captain, because obviously they dropped Matto, I still don't understand how Matto is the captain. But that's a story for another day. If you're the captain and you're not promoting yourself or believing in yourself that you can score at a higher strike rate, then no offense, than John O'Wells, are you just not believing in yourself, or are you just not backed by the people that are behind the scenes? I'm not too sure what's going on there, but you're spot on.
Surely it's more
just
of
not being utilised. I don't know, but this breakout season, it's really. Obviously, it's been very good for Victoria, but this Big Bash edition, first game was the only time that he's done something. Like you're not when you come up in a head-to-head against Sutherland. Normally, at the start of the year, you were very, very skeptical. Like you think he could blow you away in one game, but now it's just there's no fear. You just read over the name. But that's enough. We're getting off track there. Daz, play we don't own that bowled you over this week. Who is it, mate?
Linsanity, mate.
Yes.
Chris Lynn.
Yeah. Good call.
He's on fire. Goes into a double next week. Probably out of touch. I think he's going to be about 180k or something like that. But yeah, looking like bowl. Just was impressive. Back to back, really good games. Yeah. Gun I don't own who's likely hurting me. Chris Linsanity is back.
Too bad he didn't play like that his last couple of seasons at the Heat.
It's amazing what a change does for people, though.
How good was he last season when he first came down to the Strikers? Like he looked sensational. It's like the guy's 138 years old, but geez, he's playing as good now as he ever has. It was interesting the other night. They took him off the field with 4 overs to go, and brought the young whippersnapper on to run around the field while they were trying to restrict the runs. Let's just say. So whereas 5 or 6 years ago, he was one of the best fielders going around. Now they're trying to sub him out to bring a young whippersnapper on with 4 overs to play because they're a bit worried that Lynn might break himself and do a hip or something.
I think just to add on to that, Timmy, you're spot on, but the change of scenery, as you mentioned, it does help when you're batting at the Adelaide Oval and it is just an absolute road. Some of the shots that him and I'm sure you know, Timmy-O, I'm the president of the Matt Shaw fan club. So some of the shots that they were both playing, it was just ridiculous. Like the ball, as I said last week when Fraser McGurk went off, the sound coming off the bat, I don't know if they're just absolutely smashing it, like hitting it extremely hard, or they're just timing it. It's a gunshot. You're right. It's almost like. When you're watching, sometimes I like to watch on my phone because obviously you're on the move, you're doing stuff. The sound doesn't line up with the picture, and you'll hear the sound first, and it'll just go bang, and then you'll see the shot, and it's just, it's wonderful, wonderful. Like it's actually nice to watch if you take Supercoach out of the equation. My player that I didn't own that bowled us over this week would have to be. It'd have to be Stoinis, honestly. As I said, I didn't watch any of that second innings of that game, so I didn't even get to see Lawrence go off. But I was just talking about how good of a pick Lawrence was. I mean, Stoins equaled him in that first game for 40k cheaper. So those that brought him in or had him, they've really done well. See, some people even straight fielded him, which if I had have owned him, I definitely wouldn't have done that. It's very good for owners, and I guess non-owners, you won't be owning him for the rest of the year, I don't think. But we'll move on. Who are we thinking for the C and VC choices next round? I know, obviously, Strikers and Perth are on the double. What's what are we thinking there? I mean, we all know who I'm going, so we don't even need to talk about that. But Daz, who are you thinking, mate?
Live update. Bo Webster just got out. Bold Siddle caught Sutherland for 14, I think. So Maxi's about to stride to the crease.
As long as Stoyne doesn't bat, that would be perfect.
Oh, come on.
Stoinis is only on 2 points for the game. So let's hope he gets out there and hits it a long way, but let's hope it's not at Maxi's expense.
All right. He'll be right. Hard one, mate. VCC, I'm guessing your VCs from your man crush, Matty Short, but I couldn't take someone against the Scorchers, even at the two batting decks. Look, I really think this is going to be the round that's going to decide things for people. We've realistically had almost vanilla captains to pick from, close to every round, really. I was originally on Munro in round one until Nisa come in late, and then I swapped to him. I didn't go Webster, but then you got Matt Short, you had Sams, you had Maxi. Yep. So I really think it's the round where you have multiple choices, two teams on the double. I'm actually thinking of going a little bit different. I'm actually thinking of Jai Richardson. As I'm not even sure I'm going to go VC. I might do Borders trick this week. They play each other, so I don't see the point and who you're going to do. So it'll probably be a straight C for me. But yeah, I'm leaning to Jai Richo.
I think he will be popular as well. I think it's either got to be Matt Short.
You reckon? On those batting decks, sure.
Matt Short, Hardy, or Richo.
I think Hardy will be the popular one.
I mean, you just got to pay up for him. I see a fair bit on Twitter, or obviously it's called X now, but I was just still in my old mindset. A lot of people questioning whether 200k is worth it for a pure batsman. It just makes me think this bloke's the captain. He bats at 3 for arguably the best side in the league. And he's got 2 batting paradise pitches. Why? Sometimes we overthink things. And I could be completely wrong. He might score 20 for the double game week. But play the percentages. If he was playing somewhere that it's just going to swing and spin, fair enough. I mean, that probably increases the percentage to fade him. But especially when it's at Perth, home ground, and then he's going to Adelaide, it's a run fest. We saw how many. It literally put Stornius back into form. And a lot of things needed to go right for that to happen. He only pops on New Year's Eve and at Adelaide, so it's done its job there. So I think good shout.
I own Hardy all season and sold him. Yep. Sold him going to this round. I'll give you the scoop. I'm actually thinking of fading him.
Really? That's interesting because I've owned him all year and it has not crossed my mind to trade him out.
Yep.
Especially with that captaincy thrown onto him now, which I definitely didn't expect. I thought it'd just be Inglis. But obviously they win titles. They know how to get it done over there. They're a fantastically run team. Timmy-O, who are you thinking for your C and VC, mate? I mean, will you even have a VC or just straight out, surely?
Yeah, look, no, I'll definitely go a VC because I will absolutely still have Stars and Thunder. I mean, I'm not going to sell Maxi.
No, I think if you can avoid that.
I won't be selling Sam's, I don't think. So I'll still have options there to do the loop. So the tough part is, even if Stars were on the double and Thunder were playing, Sam's would probably be my captain choice. He was my captain choice going into this round as an extra. So, look, I'll probably it's going to be Matty Short or Hardy and toss a coin between the two. I think just the fact that the dual positions there, you've obviously got 4 scoring opportunities over the 2 doubles. So I think it's hard to go against them. Look, I actually really like AJ Ty as a sneaky captain. If you're looking for a play,
absolutely.
Like I said, I brought him in well, I actually started the season with him and had him right from game one. So it's I've got a bit of a man crush on the bloke. He fields in great spots. He picks up a lot of extra points that aren't just from bowling. Not to mention on the odd chances where he actually does get out there and have a bat, he can swing it as well, and generally hits a lot of them over the fence. So, look, he's a bit of a left field pod play as far as captains go, but it's going to depend on whether I'm chasing points or not after the end of this round. So let's wait and see. As far as actual captain goes, geez, I don't know. Like, I probably would have maybe had a crack at Sutherland if all else failed, but he's not scoring so well in this game. Yeah, I don't know. It really is a loss. I think I'll be on Matt Short or Hardy as a VC and then try and work things out after that. So chances are it'll probably end up being Maxi might end up being my captain, and I'll loop someone else in.
Yep. No, I completely agree. Just quietly, I think Sutherland's role's a bit shot. It's gone now. That love affair's finished, unfortunately. But talking about, I completely agree that Hardy and Matt Short are probably outside of, I guess, the Perth bowlers, so to speak, are probably going to be the highest VC or seed options. But it just makes me think Matt Short you'd think that he'd bowl more than Hardy, obviously they're both captains, but I would generally say that Perth has a better lineup bowling-wise than the Strikers, which I know they're both being played at Rhodes, but you would think that the Scorchers would take more wickets than the Strikers. So it would make me think that Short's ability to score runs, even though he's obviously the messiah of this generation, which is understandable, you would think that his scoring maybe be a little bit more limited to what Hardy's would be. I mean, we've been going for a while now, and I still don't think we even need to touch on Strikers bowlers, because the only three that you'd probably want is Matt Short. You've got Jamie Overton there, which I still own. I think he's a fantastic trade option. And you're probably looking, if you're ballsy and want to go there, maybe a Lynn, or I know a lot of people have got Darcy Short still. I don't think you're going to be trading any Strikers bowlers in. So that just makes me think, if I'm not wanting them, surely that's got to increase a Perth batsman's popularity in that C and VC choice. Like, I know a few people have gone Zach Crawley as well, got him in early, which, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Playing on Rhodes, same reasoning. We saw what he did in the Ashes. I mean, they did have the moral victory there, and obviously it stung us extremely badly, but he looked all right. He did look all right. But, yeah, I'm not touching any Adelaide bowlers.
70K cheaper.
Sorry,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, what can you do with that 70K? It's obviously every team is different. I'm sure there's some teams out there that are very similar, but what can you do with that extra 70K? Does that make you trade, I guess, say, a Hales instead of a Bo Webster? Yeah, I mean, those are the things you got to weigh up as well. But what we
that's what I'm looking at. If I do end up fading Hardy, you've got Cooper probably still opening 80-something thousand. You got Crawley 130-something thousand. You got Inglis at 130-something thousand. There's three out of the top four. Do you then have Hardy as well? You got 4 out of the top 4. Are they all going to go well? Are they going to go against each other? That's that positive negative pull type thing. I don't know. I think you need to weigh things up and look at that as well. I know you won't like Scobes because you are the number one fan of the Matt Short fan club, but I would be looking at Overton over Matt Short if I was going the VC or the C. To be honest, just his role. Like I'd be very worried against that Scorchers lineup.
Yeah, I agree.
Him.
Like it was funny when you were talking about the whinging Pom thing before, who sucked for this round. I did look after it. You guys were talking about it, and Jamie Overton should have been mine. I think he only came out with 26 points for the round and promised everything and just did not produce this rown.
It's been his only game where he had.
I think he missed the strike rate bonus by 1 run.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's definitely something to consider. But bouncing off what you said, if you own 3 out of the top 4, I mean, I do own 3 out of the top 4, just not Crawley. If it wasn't the strikers and how poor their bowling attack is, and it wasn't the Scorchers with how good of a team they are, then yes, I think that would be more of a concern. But Scorchers just get it done. They just get it done. And strikers, I mean, they're in a bit of a form slump. But when you read their bowlers out, it doesn't strike fear into you at all. I mean, yes, everybody can have a really good day here and there. I mean, Wes Agar is capable. I mean, do they even play Thornton? Payne's going to be back, we know that, but Payne, he bowls at the death, hasn't really done much without swing, and it's going to be at Adelaide Oval in Perth. The conditions aren't going to assist them. So it's kind of making me really think about a Perth batsman for that, which, yeah, I think a lot of consideration needs to go into. And obviously, as what we spoke about, do you pay 200K for Hardy, or do you go 130K Crawley and use that 70K elsewhere? It's very, very interesting. Something to think about. I mean, you've just got to really, as you said, the captaincy decision this week will determine whether you're really climbing those ranks or really falling. But what were you about to say, mate?
Oh, I think it's good. Like I said before, we've had these vanilla captains. I think this is the round where it won't be.
Yep.
I will be looking at those percentages. If someone like Jai Richardson is highly captained, I probably won't go there because I think it is risky because he's a bowler on those decks. So that'll be something I'm totally looking at. I think this is the round you need to, if you're in that position or if you want to get up the ranks, I think this is the round you need to push that go, take that risk or back yourself because it is the option where there's going to be a few different guys that you can have a go at. I don't think we've had that. Well, I know we haven't had that for any round really. It's probably really only been 1 or 2 previously. I think this time you potentially have 5 or 6 different guys. You could have Matt Short, Overton. We've mentioned Ty, Rico, Hardy. That's 5. You haven't mentioned sort of any of the others. Inglis possibly is a flyer, but batting at 4, I think he is probably a bit risky. But you got 5 or 6. We haven't even mentioned Behrendorff, who's been killing it.
That's what I was just about to say. It's
absolutely.
He was going to be my left field one. He's 200K. Everyone's saying they're not going to touch him because he's 200K, and you can't pay 200K for Behrendorff. The kicker is though he's the informed bowler of their team. He's picking up wickets for fun at the moment, and after just having a week off, look, there's a world where you could maybe go him over Hardy for the same price.
Keen on Dorf?
Sorry?
Are you keen on Dorf?
Well, that's what I was just saying.
Absolutely.
There's a world where you could go him instead of Hardy and maybe throw the captaincy straight on there and put it on Dorf. So he's probably the informed bowler of their team, bowling on 2 pace-friendly wickets. So, I don't know. You could go worse.
I'll give you another one, Scope. I'm fading him.
Here we go. You're fading Behrendorff.
100%.
That decision. I just think I just have these flashbacks of him just waddling in and bowling these massive left arm benders that with right-handed batsmen they just stick the front part out and bang, finger goes up. I reckon he's a superstar. He bowled exceptionally well over in India. I know we all know it's a little bit easier to bowl spin than swing over there, and he was wonderful. He was wonderful. It's really, I know this is hindsight, but it's really it's not a surprise that he's done so well. Because let's be honest, he bowled wonderfully in India. The environment didn't suit him because obviously it doesn't pronounce a swing as much, and over here he's playing against lesser quality cricketers. I think that's fair to say. I mean, they're not playing for the Australian national team, every single one of them, but he's up there. I think if it hadn't have been at Adelaide, and obviously he's got to play at home, he likes home, but if it's not at the Road, then I'd be more keen on him. I'm sure you can hear that. There's a little Bubba crying at the moment, but he'll be right in a second. I think Mum's just going to sort him out. But yeah, as I said, I think it's 540k for Berendorf, Richo, and Hardy. So you're gonna have to sort something out there.
I thought it was more than that because Dorf's 200k, Hardy's 207, and Richo's 170.
No, you're right.
So it's 570, 580. It's it's the best part of 600k for those three players that you'd really love
absolutely.
to have. No. I'm not sure. I think the only way you could is if you're selling guys like Matt Short. And are you really going to do that in that round?
I think I'm sitting close to 2.4 million, and I'm not going to be able to afford them all. So I don't think you can go on all. But yeah, like I get why people are interested and want him. And this is why I like this round coming up as well. People are going to have to start making tough decisions, which I love. It's going to be your make or break rounds, particularly. So I like it. Like I've crunched the numbers. I've looked into it. A bit of a stats man. I like that sort of stuff, and I'm a lefty myself, so I like the lefty bowlers. But
right.
Sorry, Dorf. I'm not bringing you in.
No, that's fair enough. I mean, 200k is a big slice. That's a decent player in change.
Oh, the price doesn't worry me.
Mm-hmm.
It's his stats, and the role is what I'm fading.
Well, I think if he doesn't get wickets up front, that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
He really, really likes the front just to exert that swing. We've almost been going for an hour and 20 minutes, boys, so we're going to wrap this up real quick. We've had some fantastic discussions. Timmy-O, thank you so much for joining us, mate. It's been wonderful. Did you want to it's off the bench. Do you want to give them a nice plug, mate?
Yeah, Supercoach off the bench, boys. We actually hit a milestone on the early hours of New Year's Day. We've actually only been together for since February this year when we kicked off decided we'd been doing a lot of work behind the scenes in a couple of other podcast groups and kind of figured, hey, look, instead of doing it for somebody else, why don't we sort of join forces and do it for our own thing? So we did, and Off the Bench was born. So, look, we've only been going since February. We hit 1,000 members on our Facebook page, the early hours of New Year's Day. That was our aim for by the end of this BBL season. So we're ahead of schedule. But no, look, we've been really good. We do a pod, especially through BBL. We're doing one at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We've tried a couple of times to go live and just haven't quite got it to work. So I'll probably be asking you boys a few more questions after this about that. But look, we love it. There's 5 of us that are part of the team. There's 4 of us that do the actual podcast. And it's just it's good, lighthearted stuff. It's like being at the pub, having a few beers with your mates, having a chat about sport. We talk about a lot of stuff. We love our super coach, and most of us have got the runs on the board. So I think all of us have finished in the top 1,000 in the NRL numerous times, and in the top 500 in BBL. So yeah, look, we've got the runs on the board. We're not quite as popular as some of the others, but we are certainly catching up pretty quickly. So yeah, if you haven't had a listen yet, jump in on our Facebook page, Supercoach Off the Bench. I think at the moment we're probably called BBL Off the Bench, and it changes to NRL, but we're in a bit of a name change process. I think very shortly it'll get changed to Supercoach Off the Bench. So yeah, if you haven't checked us out, come have a listen. Supercoach Off the Bench.
No, that's wonderful, mate. Definitely for BBL. For myself, NRL is like a foreign language to me, mate. So I don't speak Spanish, so I'll opt out on that one. So I do apologise for that. But where can everybody find you, mate? What are the handles at? On Twitter,
look, we're on Spotify. Like you find us through Spotify. We're in YouTube. We're still trying to work out the Apple Podcast app. That's how I use it for most of other people's podcasts. But strangely enough, we're not on there yet. But look, it's that's the main way. But Facebook, everyone just gets us through Facebook most of the time. So that's the main way. But yeah, certainly on Spotify and YouTube also.
Wonderful. Daz, where can people find you at, mate? If they want, I guess, next week's lotto tickets, the numbers for that, how can we get in contact with you?
Yeah, mate, I'm on Twitter X as LargsPiers. I'm in the Discord all the time, the Supercoach Hub Discord, having a bit of a chat, so you can find me there. done a couple of guest roles on different pods, including with Timmy the other week. So I guess you can see me around there. So well done to you guys. That was most enjoyable that week, and early in the morning we couldn't quite crack a beer, but it was good.
Wasn't it strange? I'm so used to doing a podcast with a beer, doing it at 8 o'clock in the morning with a cup of coffee. It just felt all kind of wrong. But we'll be doing that tomorrow morning too.
But no, well done, mate, with your success. Good stuff. Hope it keeps going.
No, that's fantastic. Mate. And just before we sign off, Corey's just sent through that Maxi's on fire, and he definitely is. 26 off 11. He's hit 3 6s and 1 4. Stars only need 6 runs to win. So for us non-Stoinis owners, that's fantastic. But thank you so much, Timmy-O, for joining in, and Daz for always being here. We did lose Myth tonight. Communication errors is what I've been told, but I'm sure he'll be back shortly. But everyone, Supercoach Hub, join the Discord, like us on Twitter. We're available on YouTube and Spotify. First time going live tonight. It was wonderful to see people in the chat. I will admit that I did not think a message from Corey saying John Wells' bowling would actually get sent through. I thought that was a bit of a load of crap, but my mistake. He hasn't bowled in 10 years, and that's just shock horror to me. Linktree's in the bio. Everyone, you know where to find us. I'm at Scobie Bryant 36 on Twitter. I'm happy to have a discussion, as always. Happy to tell Carlton supporters how terrible they are, how good the Mighty Pies are. And yeah, just jump on, converse, sort out your trade plans, see what we can get done. Daz, you're about to jump in. What is it, mate, before we sign off?
I was going to say you should give yourself a plug. Scobe's written an awesome article for Honeyball that just came out today, so get in and have a look.
Yes, so that's for Honeyball members. If you want to have a look at that, I know obviously it's midway through the season, but it's just a little bit of information, especially where we are at the pointy end now. It's about death bowling, who you can target. We talked about a lot of the targets tonight without giving too much away, and we'll continue to do so. Like, we want to see everybody do well. It's just, I know a lot of people are stats driven rather than eye test, but this obviously backs up a lot of people's points, especially with those death bowlers. You need them. They're there to restrict runs, take bowls, just get on board, get them into your side, and don't look back. But thank you so much for you two joining us, everyone in the chat. And I want to say thank you just to the bloke behind the scenes. His name's Jedi. He does so much, so much, and even saying that is an understatement. And Kano, as always, thank you so much for allowing this to happen. So thank you very much, everyone, and we'll see you next time.